Well, it was a very tight session, but Bieler finally comes away with the pole.
Okay, so for race number 2 and episode 16 of TOCA, Menu does not sit on the pole, meaning that Bieler once again takes pole position. I've once again qualified in 9th, and my teammate Derek has qualified 14th. So at least I can say I will manage to claw back at least 5 points if I can beat Menu to the race win. Anyways, let's now get down to the race itself. And so here we go for race number 2 here at Knockhill. Really trying to see if I can get back all of those points which I lost last time out at Thruxton, as of which, even though I was able to finish 5th last time out at Croft, unfortunately Menu won that race, so I'm really going to need this to be a weekend sweep if I am going to put myself back within striking distance of Menu's point lead. And it looks as though there is some chaos going on behind us, although I don't think there's any DNFs as far as I'm concerned. DNFs do happen in this game if a car is damaged badly enough, but surprisingly up to this point in 16 races we've only had 1 DNF up to this point in the season. So, closing in on Plato, having to nudge the Audi out of the way there. Really couldn't have done anything else to overtake him. He was blocking me and I was already in position to fight him. Of course, he would not have been able to give me the position because these AI do not give, they will only take. And Menu is once again the leader, but at least I can say if I manage to beat him here at Knockhill, and if he finishes in 2nd, then it at least means I have got a maximum of 5 points I can gain, and that should put the championship interval back down to 5 points, as of which I was pretty dominant here at Knockhill in race 1, so hopefully race 2 will see something similar. And less than a second is now the interval, so closing in on Menu now all the time up to this point. I am not going to overtake him just yet because I know very well my best shot of overtaking him is at the hairpin, and I'm going to make sure I deliver my message to him, showing that I am not fucking around, and pretty sure he's going to hold on to 2nd position anyway, unless one of the Audis manages to overtake him. But I did have to deliver my message indicating I'm not fucking around with this championship. I want to win it as badly as he does, but I also need to prove I can beat him on a consistent basis, which is the one thing I've not been able to do up to this point in the season, because, well, he seems to be beating me consistency-wise, but I still manage to score my wins at least. Even then, of course, if the one thing he seems to keep doing to me is outscoring me because he is more consistent. And it doesn't look as though my voice is going to survive doing another race today. But at the moment at least, I can now say I am leading here, And if all goes well, then this should be another weekend sweep for both me and my red Vauxhall Vectra, but it's just a matter of knowing if I can manage to achieve full perseverance next time out at Snetterton, which by the way is the final circuit on the calendar we will be heading to, as of which Knockhill is circuit number 8, and then Knockhill will be officially be circuit number 9 on the schedule, if you account for the Donington short course, which apparently is a name of one of the courses in this game. We do have an overall total of 9 courses, excluding Lava Land, which is the bonus course, and I will show that off in the end of the game, but for now, I just really want to start clawing back the points on menu, because I know very well this is where the championship could either be won or lost. I'm hopeful in saying this is where the championship will be won, but there's no doubt in saying this championship is going to go all the way down to the wire, because both myself and Menu basically keep exchanging checkered flags with one another. Menu has been more consistent than me up to this point in the season, which is why he's been leading the championship for so long, but I am hopeful in saying in the closing stages I will at least manage to get some momentum under my belt. I'll also be hopeful in saying my voice doesn't die during that time. Oh, fuck me. Okay. It's alright, it's fine. I thought for sure I was going to lose it, but thankfully I didn't. And so, seems as though everything is now going well. Everything appears to be going well at the moment, as I'm now overlapping the Ford Mondeo to starting what will now be lap number 9 in race 2 here at Knockhill. And looks as though my laptop is keeping up relatively well with the pictures. It does not seem to be giving me too many issues at the moment. As I am now heading up to the latter stages of the lap once again. I am pretty much aiming to get this done by the end of the month, as of which we are in the closing stages of August, and I am hopeful in saying I can at least manage to get the remaining races over and done with by the end of the month. So then, by the time I get back to this, hopefully things will go a lot smoother than they have been doing. And, yo, look at that. One of the Fords is actually inside the top 12. Although, it's only the top 10 who score points, and I just forced him out wide. So, I basically fucked his day, but again, he probably wouldn't have scored points anyway, and so, with only with another 25 laps to go here at Knockhill. It's still all to play for. Of course, I will be thankful to say this could look to be a weekend sweep, meaning that if Menu does finish in second, I will have at least managed to gain 5 points on him in terms of his deficit. As of which, I've definitely got quite a hole I need to dig myself out of. And hopefully, with the next two races coming at Snetterton, I will at least manage to score back enough points to retake the lead, if I can manage to achieve another weekend sweep. So just gonna have to mute myself here whilst I try to regain composure of my voice, because apparent as it might be, my voice does not want to stay on pitch today. I am back once again here, and judging by how this race has gone so far, I'm practically dominating here at Knockhill. As of which, I dominated the first race to the point of where I was just able to overlap the entire field, and it looks as though this race is more or less going to be the same, except for saying I don't think it's going to be enough points for me to gain on Menu for me to take a significant chunk of points, but at the very least, because Frank Bieler was able to take pole position here for the second race at Knockhill, technically he was able to help me by limiting the damage, and ultimately what that means is he was basically able to help me by simply scoring the pole ahead of Menu, as of which I have noticed the Audis do have tremendous qualifying speed, and I do almost wonder if that should be the team I should drive for by the time I get down to another championship which is in this game. But as to what that is, I will reveal afterwards. And getting punted by one of the Ford Mondeos. Fortunately, that was nothing critical because I am practically leading this race by an absolute country mile over Menu. And having to get a little bit forceful there with one of the Audis, just so I could overlap him. Of course, this is basically this race basically is more or less a demolition derby like lots of other races in this game, but fortunately, however, I have not lost too much of an interval to Menu in terms of the championship, and so I now shoot up the inside of the Ford Mondeo, and I did not shift down to second gear. I got a bad exit out of that final turn, but at least I can say I have the speed to clear him, and that now puts me pretty much a lap ahead of most of the field by now, although I would imagine it's only going to be a matter of time before I end up lapping the leaders. And one of the Nissans just spun out. Fortunately, I did not get a dangerous driving warning for ploughing into the back of whichever Nissan that was. I'm going to assume it was David Leslie, but I am not entirely sure of knowing who it was that spun out. Of course, even though the game manual is able to reveal the names of the drivers, it's not able to reveal the numbers. So, overlapping my teammate now, Derek Warwick, who I am going to assume is in 11th position, most likely, although he could be higher than that. But if he does manage to score points, then I will definitely say GG, because he's been on the cusp of scoring points so many times in this championship. It's going to happen eventually, I would suspect. Of course, Derek Warwick is technically a racing legend himself, because even though he only has one BTCC win, technically he has a lot more wins in endurance racing, because he was technically one of the last two drivers to win the World Sports Car Championship in 1992. The other driver that was alongside him was a Frenchman by the name of Yannick Dalmas, and they effectively dominated the World Sports Car Championship that year by an absolute country mile, and they also won the 24 Hours of Le Mans that season as well, with their third driver being another relatively good racing driver and that driver being Mark Blundell. Anyways, back to the race. Nothing is really happening up front, except for saying I'm just continuing to set blistering lap times pretty much lap after lap up to this point, and doesn't look as though I'm too far away from the leaders. I can tell that's one of the Hondas right in front of me, and he just pulls off to the side, and the Peugeot was attempting to pull off a passing manoeuvre, but that wasn't going to work. He could have taken me out, but fortunately he didn't, and I still managed to get the job done by overlapping the Honda. And one Peugeot has now been overlapped, so let's now try and see if I can overlap the other Peugeot. A little bit forceful there, but again, you have to be forceful in order to succeed with this game. And it looks as though I'm definitely closing in on one of the runners now. I am going to suspect that's Jason Plato I'm closing in on. I still have plenty of time to get him overlapped. Of course, I've been dominating this race by an absolute country mile over menu, and had to shift down to first gear there so I didn't risk spinning the car out, and thankfully that did not turn out to be the case. So 12 laps to go here at Knockhill, and it would appear this is going to be a relatively comfortable victory. And I have basically scored all of... Okay, let me start over. I have pretty much scored all of Vauxhall's points up to this point in the season, and coming up to overlap one of the Renaults, it's probably Plato who I'm going to overlap. Yes, it is. And just going to clear him. He will try and block me, but it won't work because I'm already on the racing line, and I think there was no point in him trying to block me, but again, I'm just out here and consistently putting in strong lap times. So, I still have another 10 laps to go up to this point. I'm also pretty sure I'm going to need some more water before this race is said and done, because of all the commentary I'm giving. It's really killing my voice, by the way. So I am going to have to mute myself again in a couple of laps, just so I have enough energy to commentate on the finish. Because, you know, commentary, it's what I do. Well, I do it with mediocrity, but yeah, it's what I do. Okay, here we go. 6 laps to go here at Knockhill. I've now pretty much overlapped the entire field, including the 2 Renaults, who I would imagine were the 2 drivers who I just overlapped up to that point now. And looks as though the Ford Mondeo is now fighting with one of the Nissans. I shall make sure the Ford gets the position, because I know how much the leading Ford Mondeo would have really wanted that position, but anyways. So, unfortunately there isn't a scoreboard in this game. I sometimes wish there was, so then I'd be able to tell you what the positions are, but I'm going to assume it's myself ahead of the 2 Renaults. As of which, I'm going to assume it's Menu in second, and it's once again Jason Plato who seems to be third. But hopefully after this weekend I will have managed to cut into that lead Menu seems to have over me. It was 10 points going into this race, and I am hopeful in saying coming out of this race that lead will be cut down from 10 points to 5 points. Because crucially, Menu did not score the pole for race 2, meaning that he did not score the bonus point award, which he seems to be getting quite frequently in this championship, and coming through to try and overlap one of the Volvos, and he's still going to be racing me hard as I would have expected him to. I'm up into the 2-lap range, I think, with that Volvo, as of which I have overlapped the entire field at least once in this race, because I can seem to recall overlapping both of the Renaults most recently. So they must be running in second and third as they have been doing. Also, I know the Constructors' Championship doesn't exist in this game, but if it did, I'm pretty sure Renault by now would have already had an absolute country mile on me regarding the Constructors' Championship, because, well, they would have been so dominant up to this point, the championship would have been decided. And I am talking about the Constructors' Championship here, but the Constructors' Championship would have pretty much been decided, I would say, probably 6 races early, because that is just how dominant they've been. And is this going to be a new best lap time I will set? And yes, it is. It's a 51.13 that is my new best lap time. And so, with only 2 laps to go, all I have to do now is just hold on and hope I do not make any catastrophic mistakes. Although, I can afford to make one mistake or two because I practically have a lap on the entire field anyway, but again, I really cannot afford to make too many mistakes in the tracks where I know the AI will be quicker than me. In other words, tracks where I know the runners will be more consistent than me. So I'm really going to have to make it so from here, at least for the next 2 rounds following this, that I do manage to at least have a 1-point lead coming out of Snetterton, which is what it could be if I finish first in both races and Menu finishes second in both races. I suspect that's what the case will be. Doesn't look as though it's going to be 3 fastest laps in a row. My fastest lap will remain a 50.77, and the Ford is not giving me any room, so gonna have to force him on the outside again, and that is a sweep of Knockhill, which I desperately needed.
The new Vauxhall driver is really storming this season, and another victory moves the team further up in the Constructors' Championship. Here's how the race finished.
Alright, so overlapped the entire field like I did in race 1. Unfortunately, Menu had to finish second again, meaning the gap has only been cut down to 5 points. Thompson was 4th ahead of Rydell, and then we had the 2 Audis sandwiching Tarquini. Burt finishes in 9th as always. Then we have David Leslie rounding out the points. Then it's Harvey, Warwick, Radicic, Reed, Hoy and Patrick Watts, once again completing the finishing order.
So, let's see how today's events affect the championship table. The championship's still wide open, so we're expecting a real battle at the next circuit.
Okay then, so my math was correct. I do now have a 5-point deficit, and if both myself and Menu finish first and second at Snetterton with me sweeping both races like I have done here at Knockhill, then that should put me on top of the championship. As long as Menu doesn't score a pole position, that should put me on top of the championship by a single point. And that is regarding that Menu does not score pole position during the 2 qualifying sessions. Or if he scores the pole in one race and then basically doesn't the other race, we're pretty much tied. But anyways, Snetterton will be our next circuit.